I Can't Cry Your Rain, Love, Let's Go Drop by Drop. This is a film based on a true story. On April 15, 2013, at 2:40 p.m. Eastern Time in North America, the city of Boston on the East Coast was hosting a marathon. Top athletes from around the world considered it an honor to win this race. It was a collective celebration for everyone. Just then, a heavy bomb suddenly exploded near the finish line. The festive atmosphere was abruptly shattered. Shortly after, another deafening explosion erupted. The shockwave shattered glass, which rained down mercilessly on pedestrians along the street. The reverberations of the blast shook the entire block. Meanwhile, runners continued to sprint toward the finish line, while the area near the official stage was littered with civilian casualties. Police at the finish line quickly sprang into action, searching for the attackers and aiding the wounded, as medical teams rushed to provide emergency care. Many spectators watching the marathon were covered in blood. The perpetrators were a pair of brothers who had built homemade explosive devices by watching online videos. A single pressure cooker became a deadly explosive. After the explosions, the police chief remained composed, organizing on-site rescue efforts while diverting runners away from the area. All phones used to record the scene were confiscated, and a clear path was swiftly cleared for ambulances. Within 47 minutes, the FBI, the governor, and the mayor arrived at the blast site. FBI agents examined the bomb fragments and scattered ball bearings on the ground. This was a terrorist attack. The FBI immediately asserted full control, demanding the mayor provide a location for a command center. The area, spanning 10 blocks from the blast's epicenter, was meticulously mapped on the ground. As time ticked away, the investigation's hopes rested on surveillance footage. Someone spotted a clue, a potential suspect. At the moment of the explosion, everyone in the footage instinctively turned toward the blast, except for one man wearing a white baseball cap backward. The video was too blurry. The FBI summoned the police chief, who, relying on his sharp professional instincts and remarkable memory, reconstructed the scene. Tracing the suspect's route, they finally found a clear frontal image from a cafe's surveillance camera. Despite being exposed, they refused to back down and decided to escalate, planning a larger attack in New York. They spotted a lone police car. The older brother walked straight to the driver's side and opened fire. The younger brother then approached the wounded officer, attempting to seize his gun. The injured cop desperately shielded his holster, forcing the older brother to fire several more shots. The commotion alerted nearby store patrons, and the two assailants fled back to their car. A responding officer, arriving just in time and witnessing his colleague's death, immediately called for backup. Studying at MIT, a Chinese academic prodigy was texting a girl when suddenly a stranger knocked on his car window asking for help. Out of politeness, Hua Yinan rolled down the window, and in the next moment, a robbery straight out of a nightmare unfolded right in front of him. This is the special treatment of living abroad. Everything happens so suddenly. Just before this, the two brothers had planted 2 pressure cooker bombs at the Boston Marathon. To get their hands on a gun, they had already killed a police officer. Now, they loaded the remaining explosives into Hua Yinan's car, planning to drive to New York to carry out another terrorist attack. When they stopped at a gas station, the younger brother got out to refuel and buy some food. Hua noticed the older brother casually leaving the gun on the car door. This was his chance. Glancing to the side, he confirmed his escape route. The older brother, completely dismissive of Hua, was busy mapping out their drive. Hua knew this was his moment. Testing the waters, he slowly removed his glasses, then he made his move. In a flash, he bolted toward the open convenience store. The older brother yelled for the younger one, who dropped everything and rushed out. But by then, Hua was already out of sight, hiding inside the store and urgently telling the clerk to call the police. Realizing the situation had gone south, the brothers sped off. When officers arrived, Hua, speaking in heavily accented, frantic English, told them his car had been stolen by the Boston bombers. The car had bombs and guns. They were heading to New York to attack a plaza. The car had GPS tracking. He remembered the password. They had to be stopped. The case had finally taken a critical turn. By now, nearly every available cop in Boston was converging on Watertown. The two terrorists were cornered by the police. Officers shouted for them to surrender, but instead, the older brother stepped out of the car and opened fire, unloading his gun wildly at the patrol cars. These cops had been on the force for decades, but they'd never seen criminals this brazen. They called for emergency backup, ducking behind their doors and peeking out cautiously. But the moment they shouted, the gunfire only intensified. Thinking they could hold out until reinforcements arrived, they took cover until the brothers pulled out another bomb. The pressure cooker was packed with shrapnel, nails, ball bearings, and steel pellets, seemingly harmless on their own, but devastating when detonated. The first explosion sent cops flying before they even realized what hit them. Then another blast rocked a second patrol car. No one expected two isolated terrorists to go on a full-blown rampage in the middle of the street. The prolonged firefight drained the officers' ammo. Their handguns were no match for the brothers' firepower. Even bystanders couldn't stand it. Someone threw an axe from their house to help the cops. With backup still delayed, an officer made a desperate move, trying to use a cruiser to pin down the suspects. But the brothers, now in a frenzy, lit another bomb and hurled it at the police. The explosion was so intense that the officers couldn't tell if they were still alive or already in hell. Their only thought, empty every last round. One veteran cop, smarter than the rest, flanked the brothers and shot the older one in the leg. By then, more units had arrived. Realizing the situation was hopeless, the older brother told his younger sibling to drive to New York while he held off the cops. After emptying his magazine, he resorted to hand-to-hand combat. But in his panic, the younger brother accidentally ran over his own brother with the car, killing him instantly. Enraged, the remaining officers unloaded their weapons at the fleeing SUV, but the bulletproof glass, thanks to the Chinese student's expensive taste in cars, held firm. The younger brother escaped, sparking a citywide lockdown. The streets emptied as residents followed government orders, turning Boston into a ghost town. The eerie silence mirrored the tension of cities under martial law, proof of a well-organized society under extreme stress. With nowhere left to hide, the younger brother was eventually tracked down to a boat stored in a backyard. Knowing he still had explosives, police surrounded the area and unleashed a barrage of gunfire. The standoff lasted from day into night, until flashbangs and smoke grenades finally forced him out. The film, blending documentary-style footage with reenactments, captures the raw terror of the attacks. The Chinese student, 28, later recalled in an interview, "For the first 10 minutes, my body wouldn't stop shaking. My mind went blank. All I could think was, this is my last night alive." His desperate escape became the key break in the case. And that's where the story ends. This is MZeeUniverse. See you next time.